I tried doing this a little differently today, but it didn't work out, so I deleted it to force myself to redo it completely, starting over. So this is that. So welcome, and I hope you're doing well. Don't really have much else to say. I am so freaking tired today. Can you see it? Yeah. I don't always look like that. These are usually not as bad. Alright, I'm tired. I'm dehydrated. I want to be high. Help me. This is day 4, by the way. Thanks a lot, Alex. Day 4 after the Halloween thing. After I went and enjoyed my Halloween. Day 4. But it's not why I'm so tired. I don't know what the hell. I woke up 6 a.m. Been waking up at 6 a.m. lately. Anyone else has been waking up earlier than usual. Might be something to that. I wasn't even up late last night. I think I went to bed before midnight, but I stayed up and I wrote this excerpt, this new section in the ongoing pursuit of the path to spiritual awakening and enlightenment. This is the next installment. I already tried this once, and it sounds terrible. It just doesn't flow. So if you can really hang in there with me on this one, try our best to get through it. But it is interesting stuff. Like, the content is great. It's just the delivery is just off the wall today. I can't even describe it. Oh yeah, and I decided to take a break from coffee today too. Thanks a lot, Alex. That might be part of it. I'm dehydrated from a couple days in a row of coffee in the morning, and I decided to switch back to green tea with sugar in it. I'm just like really not helping myself out here. Quit weed, trying to avoid vaping, quit coffee now this morning, and I just need probably 3 more hours of sleep. We'll do our best here. Understanding the world we live in. Now, from our previous videos, we understand that narcissism is the active living out, or the live acting out, of a lie, of a concealment, of a deception, we know what narcissism is. With that understanding, we can understand that we were raised in a world that is overcome with fear. So much so that we are even taught to fear our fears. We fear fear so strongly that oftentimes we are willing to do just about anything to avoid confronting it or even be exposed to it. What if I told you that through conscious exposure lies the keys to unlocking more of yourself? Conscious exposure to fear. Not even just fear. After I wrote this last night, I wrote this smaller, pertaining to pain. Fear is actually, it's the active avoidance ritual of pain. You fear the pain, your fear makes you act in ways to avoid the pain. Therefore, the fear is the active avoidance ritual of the pain. We do literally everything we can to avoid pain. So I wrote this section under my fear list. I was looking at my fear list. Why do I fear these things? Because I was trained to, programmed to avoid pain. Last night, I wrote that I got the download on 11/4 as I'm writing this. I said I have to write this down, and it may be pertaining to this. So the thing about the fear and the pain. but this is what I wrote. Our mind filters out all of the truths of the world that we can't handle. The mind causes us not to see certain things, the raw truths of our reality. Even when we think we are looking to uncover them, you won't see it until you're ready. This is a defense mechanism to protect the psyche, much in the same way fear works. This is the avoidance of pain. Our brains would not know pain if it were not for our nervous system. Fear is the avoidance of pain. Our souls and subconscious know the ultimate truths of the universe, but conceal it from the vessel to avoid fracture. So that's that in a nutshell. We can definitely going to be diving deeper into that concept, because that was kind of like as far as what we fail to notice, even when it's right in front of us, like a cheating spouse or anything, what might be right in front of us and we don't notice it, is that our subconscious protecting us from the reality of the truth, and we're powerless to its willingness to reveal what actually is going on, or when it feels you're ready. But meanwhile you're living in this delusion, right? Kind of scary. But it's conscious exposure to that, and the conscious exposure, digging deep and getting to the root of the fear, and you actually end up finding the pain, what pain you're avoiding. That's at the root of it all. It isn't only just more of you, but more of the real you. I'm not referring to any of the phobias here either. I'm referring to the micro fears that are controlling what you do, where you go, who you talk to, how long you'll sit on your favorite park bench. If this doesn't sound like you, just wait. It gets a whole lot juicier. Those are the big micro fears. Not everyone has those fears. But at this time, I want you to start thinking about, maybe even journaling, some of the fears that you have, and whether or not it might be pertaining to some of the things that are brought up in this excerpt. See if you notice any that, now that they've seen the light of day, maybe they seem silly or childish. These next ones you may even deny possessing. That would be fearing the fear, right? Or you might just not even have them. Maybe you've put them behind you. But if you find that you participate in the following fear-related activities, you most certainly do. Let me get some. How about pretending? No, not make-believe. I mean real pretend. Okay, pretending for real. Anyone? No. Alright, I'll give you this one for free. No legwork required. Pretending occurs due to a fear of rejection. Here's some examples. Unless someone wants to volunteer the first one. Any takers? In the back? Oh, okay. You pretend to like something. Anything. Just pretending to like it in general. Immediately ask yourself why. Well, I don't want to upset that person. I want to seem like a nice person. I want to just be amicable and friendly and all these things. But if the person you're trying to impress isn't impressed by the genuine you, then you're in a fear state of being rejected by that person for revealing your true feeling on whether or not you like that thing. That would be pretending to like something. If you are pretending to have an affinity for something, you are avoiding discomfort by taking on something that also isn't comfortable for you, but is less uncomfortable than not being liked or being not liked for not liking it. Pretending is one of the most obvious indicators of fear, because the fear that is driving it is right out in the open to be discovered. As soon as someone discovers you've been pretending, it all unravels in that moment. Because not only is a genuine experience hard to fake, when your facade is discovered, the motive is sure to follow. Tracing the fear allows you to see to its origin. Every fear has an origin that needs healing, and tracing allows you to see what to heal. That was pretending affinity, but how about pretending repulsion? For the same reason. We can place ourselves into that situation when we're around a bunch of people that don't like or are actively speaking out against something, a rally. Maybe you're pretending to be against something that you secretly are neutral on, but you're pretending for a reason, and now that reason could be the fear of not finding a mate. Therefore you pretend to like, or pretend to be repulsed by this thing that this person that you like is repulsed by, so that you can get closer to that person, because you have a fear that might be the only way you can find someone, that organically or sharing your true feelings with that person isn't going to be accepted. That one's a little different. That one's tricky, but we traced it back to fear though. The last one I'm going to cover today is possibly the worst one yet, and that is pretending a surplus or excess. It's definitely fear-based and devastating to all involved when it topples. So just imagine you believe that someone to have an excess of something, whether it's money or really anything, and now you're counting on that, and all of a sudden it's not there. That's why it's so devastating. And it will topple, because feigning an excess is probably the hardest one to fake, for lack of proof, or, just imagine. Probably the ugliest one, though, is ironically when we pretend not to notice each other or even pretend to care. So I'll let you ponder on that one. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming videos. And as always, never stop spreading your light. Do you have any examples of pretending that maybe I didn't cover, or some good stories of how pretending exposed a fear? Or maybe you have a story of hope. You were able to expose the pretending and heal the fear in that person. But leave it in the comments if you do. I'm curious. When we can start picking apart these fears in our lives, we can start getting to the root of what exactly is driving us, what is making us do the things that we do, and are we being controlled in some way through our fears, by the people that we know, by fear itself, by shadow outside entities? What are your theories? But fear is all around us, and the more aware of it that we can make ourselves, the more resilient we can be to acting outside of our will.